Welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I bring over 40 years experience in comic books and entertainment across 5 decades. I offer insights and opinions on the business and the art of comic books and pop culture. If it's happening in games, in movies, in streaming, or comic books, we're covering it right here on the Robservations Show. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I am Robservations in the podcast space. I'm the Rob Liefeld Show on the YouTube space. Wherever you listen to us from, whether it's the Spotify, the Apple, the Podbean, or YouTube, we appreciate you so much. We are so thankful that you tune in, that you engage this journey that we've been having with the YouTube portion is really fun. It's really fun. You guys on YouTube leave the funniest. I think you guys leave the funniest messages, the best interaction so far, and I am thrilled that we went that. I got to be honest. Why did we wait so long? I'm like, why didn't I get on here sooner? Well, it was a lot of reasons. One, me hating being on camera, but this is where the eyeballs are. So this is where we are. If you ever want to go through my back catalog, over 450 episodes that cover so much of what I experienced as a kid getting into comics in 1974. I mean, think about that. Think about that. My journey with comics is now 51 years old. I soon to be 52. I take you from how I saw the comic book industry change. I knew I wanted to make comics from a very young age. I started attending conventions and got to meet some incredible professionals. I've shared some of those stories with you, whether it's George Perez, whether it's Frank Miller, Art Adams, Jerry Ordway, Mike Zeck, then my own peer group, Todd, Jim, everybody. It takes you through stories that honestly, for the longest time, I thought so many people had heard. I did an episode with Todd and Peter David debating that I just assumed the whole world knew. And when we put that up a couple of years ago, people are like, I never knew that they had a public debate at a convention. So it's stuff like that I just wasn't prepared in regards to how these stories and this history was known or unknown. But we've shared it all, and with tremendous passion, because man, do I love comic books. I love comic books in a way. It goes like, my family, comics, and then a huge drop into everything else. Comics are a part of my everyday life. I am utterly and completely consumed by them. I like to say that I consume comics rather than collect comics. So just thrilled that we can do this. If you ever want more material, that back catalog is there. It is there for you to access. I know a lot of the times I do this at the end of the show, but at the top of the show today, I'm going to tell you, when you're done with this and whatever the wait between the days, look, when I'm not doing these videos, I'm all over social media on X, formerly known as Twitter. I am at Robert Liefeld, RobertLiefeld. It has one of those pesky blue check marks, but it tells you it's really me. That's really me talking with you, reading your mentions, your replies, your messages. I just appreciate you so much. Thank you for following me at Robert Liefeld, the full damn name, on X. On Instagram, I'm at Rob Liefeld. Got the shorter version, another blue check telling you that is really me. I would love to see you over there. I haven't been able to post a whole lot of anything that I've been doing because I'm trying to keep it really secretive. I've got some new books coming out at San Diego Comic-Con here in a few weeks, and I haven't wanted to release any of that art. I've in my older age, I realized the importance of keeping things scarce, of keeping things secret, of letting the reveals happen in real time, just like they did with me. When I was a kid and I bought these comics right here, these Hulks, I didn't know what was coming next other than the next issue blurb. Whatever cover was on the Avengers, was on X-Men, was on Fantastic Four, it was revealing itself to me in real time. And there was no catalog, there was no previews. That wouldn't come in my comic book collecting. That wouldn't come for like 6 or 7 years. And so stuff like Days of Future Past, Dark Phoenix, the Count Nefaria, Korvac, Ultron, some of these great Abomination issues, they all just happened when I would arrive at the store on the spinner rack or on the shelf, and pick them up and engage with them. And and what I'm trying to do nowadays is show less until you have the book in your hand, so you have that genuine element of surprise the same way that I did. So much today in today's market, I feel like they give away so much to get the buy-in because they need the buy-in so badly. Doing the direct to consumer model, which I've been doing for the last couple of years now. It started with the book. Man, I think I have one right here. It started with this book right here called Last Blood. This is the second issue of Last Blood. This is actually the manga versions. We have full color versions and manga versions of each issue. This has got the profit stuff in it. I've been doing direct to consumer, and you just take that leap. And so far, it's gone great because people who have come along, they are genuinely entertained and surprised, and it's a way that we can keep things secret. Why am I telling you this? Because as we get closer to Comic-Con, and then in the fall, you're going to want to see this stuff. I will start previewing stuff. I'll have enough finished that I can start leaking out maybe just a very few pages, but by no means spoiler stuff. I'm not going to give it away just to get those orders because I don't need it. As long as you're happy, then I'm thrilled. But Instagram at Rob Liefeld to be showing so many more sneak previews of my work, less of my vacations. Now, who am I kidding? I love to show pictures of my family, my friends, the stuff that I'm doing, people I'm hanging with. So Instagram at Rob Liefeld, blue check. We have a group on Facebook. Come join us. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond. It would be great for you to hang out with us. I have a co-administrator. His name's Terry Sala, S-A-L-A. He or I will click you on through. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond is the group that we would love for you to join and hang out with us. We have great art contest, interaction. Every single episode of this show gets its own dedicated post if you want to comment and discuss. Really great. We keep the vibes really top notch. Really, really good vibes. No trolling, no fights. We don't that those people are shown the door. We keep it peaceful. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond is the Facebook group. Robert Liefeld is the X handle. Rob Liefeld is the Instagram handle. So when I'm not doing this, that's where I am. And what we're here to talk about today, the title of the show, is the Superman Show. The Superman Show. Superman is in theaters this weekend. I was fortunate enough to see it last night with the Amazon Prime early screening initiative, which I didn't know about until right before the 4th of July. And let me tell you something, the demand for this movie is such that I had to go down to my 5th option, and I got the last 2 seats for myself and my wife. Nothing else was there wasn't even a single seat that if like Joy had not wanted to go, I couldn't have slipped into any of the local theaters in the surrounding cities. We ended up getting tickets to a theater that we probably saw hundreds of films through the 80s and the 90s when the Fullerton AMC went up in the mid 80s. It was just the mecca for everybody and all the movies that came out from pretty much 87, 88, 89, 90. Maybe it only opened in 87, 88, but once it opened, I mean, we were just awash in these memories last night. Really great. Haven't been there in years, but the demand was such that I was only able to get what, you've got your ranked options, right? I would prefer the one down the street. If not that, I'd prefer the one a little closer. Then there's the one a little further, but it has great screens. And there was the one that's even further, but it's the most up to date. But Joy and I weren't aware that like Fullerton had such nice recliners, and it was their premium screen, because that's what all of these Superman screenings were on, was the premium screen. I got the last 2 tickets, I think, on July 2nd. And Joy and I bum rushed the theater last night because she knows that Superman is the last most anticipated movie I have for the year. It was Mission Impossible. It was F1. Superman really clears the bar. I really want to see the Leo DiCaprio movie that's coming out in the fall, the Paul Thomas Anderson, something about wars. But that's really the last movie that is must see for me. Will I see Fantastic Four? I will. And if it's great, we'll come on and we'll talk about it. And there's this misnomer that, somehow I'm this anti-Marvel guy. Make a great movie, Marvel, and I'll talk about it. Okay? Captain America Red Hulk was not a great movie, and Thunderbolts, I don't care what you say, it wasn't for me. Those are that was a group of D-list characters, not even the Thunderbolts that I liked in the comic books, and it just was not a movie that I felt terribly thrilled by, and it was certainly for me below the standards that I had come to expect from the greatest of Marvel. Okay, so Superman is my most anticipated movie, and I've seen it, and we're going to talk about it. I'm very curious about Fantastic Four, but if I never saw it, I'd be fine. I just This has been a great summer season. F1 was above and beyond, better than I expected. I loved it. Mission Impossible. I am one of those Mission Impossible homers. I loved every single second. It could have kept going. I've read the discourse. I've listened to the podcast. I hear the people who gripe. For me, it was great. I love Ethan Hunt. I love Tom Cruise in that role. I love the big, incredible, spectacular stakes and stunts. 28 years later, blew me away. There's a little movie called The Materialists, which is kind of like an indie rom-com with Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson that I just blew me away. Loved it. Thought it was excellent quality. Jurassic World. Okay, I'm one of those guys. I need adventure. I need dinosaurs. I love that they went back into the jungles. I love ScarJo. A lot of people, I read comments when Joy and I, when we were done, we love ScarJo because she was such a badass. In Jurassic World, she very much presents as there's nothing that I'm scared of or that I'm not capable of doing, which is why she's being hired. It's like why we immediately engage with cop shows, or we used to engage with westerns and sheriffs. The guy with the badge, the law guy, we already know what we know. He's a lawman. They're cops. We get it. They're defenders, okay, of justice. See, she's like, I'm a badass mercenary that costs millions of dollars. Well, of course, we then understand she is going to be exceptional at what she does. I loved it. I thought all the dinosaur hijinks, I got exactly what I wanted. I wanted to escape. I wanted to escape into the world of dinosaurs. I got it. I loved it. Superman has had a heck of a history, a heck of a recent history. My generation, when I was picking up comics in 1974, I have a lot of Superman stuff. I'm going to share with you some of my Superman stuff here in a minute. Let me drop this. When I came into comics, Superman already existed, right? He is already a big giant deal. Let me see. What number is this book here? Let me see. For instance, in 1978, when I pick up Action Comics, the one that I'm going to share with you is just shy of being in the 500s. Close to 700 Superman comics, maybe more if you include the Superboy and the Legion, existed by the time I entered the chat with Superman. I didn't watch Superman come into being, not in the way that I watched the new X-Men come together, not in the way that I watched Wolverine come into being. There's something about watching a character be created in your time, in your history. I watched Star Wars. I watched Luke and Han and Leia and Darth Vader. They emerged in front of me. I grew with them. Superman, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, the Phantom, Batman, all the DC, Green Lantern, obviously Captain America, Thor, all existed, and I had to catch up. Why did I love Superman so much? Why is he either my favorite comic book character, definitely my favorite DC comic book character? Wolverine would edge him, my love for Wolverine, so it becomes like Wolverine and Superman. Superman, the minute I saw him, I love the blue costume, I love the red and gold shield, I loved the red cape. He just looked great. He was a great looking character. The artists that were depicting him when I was a kid, Neil Adams, Kurt Swan, Jose Garcia Lopez, incredible renditions. I grew up with some of the best Superman renditions. I'm going to share with you in a minute some pages that I have from Superman versus Muhammad Ali, which if you've been a long time listener to the show, you will know that I believe that is the single best illustrated comic book of all space and time. Neil Adams put it all on the page. The pages where Lois and Jimmy are just walking down the streets in the Bronx. It's a double pager, and it's got the fruit stand and the fruit and just the people walking by, the people in the neighborhood. It's a showstopper. It's early on. It's like in the first 3 or 4 pages. And then there are key Superman Muhammad Ali shots, not even mentioning the actual fisticuffs, the boxing, the aliens. When you look at it, you can see where John Byrne comes from, where Jim Lee comes from, where so many of the greats came from. It is a spectacular book. I'm fortunate to have some pages from that. I'm going to share those with you. that I went out and grabbed from my personal collection. Superman hit me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I loved him. I loved his cartoons. He was really the star, one of the stars of the Super Friends. He had his own cartoon that was in reruns, along with the Aquaman cartoon where he threw water balls at you, and there was the short little Teen Titans cartoons. He was just a character that I engaged with. I love Superboy and the and the Legion of Superheroes. As I told you, that was probably my most interaction with him because that was the book that I tried to get on the most regular basis. The I couldn't keep up and I didn't have the budget for all the DC comics that I wanted because I really was in love with the Marvel lineup. But there was so many different options of Superman that I was at least getting one Superman, you know, a month. When they launched a Superman team up book, maybe 1978, called DC Comics Presents with Superman and Flash and Captain Comet and the Metal Man, and you figure it out. Uh, those books really became my because they were drawn by Garcia Lopez, some of the best illustrations of Superman Muhammad Ali notwithstanding, were now coming out on a monthly basis. I loved Kurt Swan, but I loved Garcia Lopez more. I loved Neil Adams more. But Superman just clicked. I loved him. I loved him more than Batman and Green Lantern and any of the other DC heroes. And I was thinking about it yesterday before we went to see the movie. Like, why? Why is it? Okay, it's the blue, it's the shield. I like the way he looked, but also I loved how powerful he was. You always hear like, oh, Superman's too powerful. No, he's not. Why is he too powerful? I love that he has heat vision, X-ray vision. He can fly. He's as strong as any hero that I ever seen. He can throw buildings. I knew he could throw and catch skyscrapers. Okay, he can run super fast. He had a race with the Flash. Okay, to see who was the fastest. I loved his wide array of powers. I loved how powerful he was, and I loved how hard somebody like Luthor had to work to hurt him. Jim Starlin from Thanos and Adam Warlock and Captain Marvel fame introduced Mongol. Mongol beat the crap out of Superman. I loved it. I thought it was great. The birth of the what we call the superpowers, because it was a toy line version of Lex Luthor and this new armor that he wore was spectacular because now he could do fisticuffs. He had his own armor that he put on that he could engage with Superman. Mongol, Darkseid, Batman in Dark Knight Returns. Frank levels up Batman's brain to the point where he can outthink and hurt him. Lots of people can lay a hand on Superman and hurt him when I was growing up, and there was a character in the Justice League called Ultra. Okay, there's all manner of different villains that engaged him, and Superman had to rise to the occasion. And I dug it. I ate it up. I loved how incredibly powerful he was. The Parasite. There was a cowboy that rode a flying horse called Terraman. He was a intergalactic like gunslinger. I was in on all of it. I loved Superman. I loved his world. I loved his rogues gallery. I favored him, as I said, above all the other DC heroes and most of the Marvel ones. I was 10 years old when Superman the movie came out, and my dad took me to see it. And I've talked about how it was pouring rain because that was a winter release closer to the holidays. And it was pouring rain when we came out. And for my generation, because we were watching the George Reeves Superman black and white editions, they hadn't been colorized yet, in reruns, and we'd seen the cartoons, but the best live action Superman you could tell was, budget deprived. It was not, especially once Star Wars hits. And then you got to wait 14, 15, 16 months for Superman. Our expectations were higher. We had seen the special effects in Star Wars, so now our expectations are higher. And look, the entire campaign was you will believe a man can fly, because they had never done flying effects like this. And I remember watching the makings of the featurettes that they released on TV to the news programs. How he laid on like a blue screen sled and they filmed him again. And it was fascinating. Christopher Reeve just clicked with all of us. I was never a big Gene Hackman Lex Luthor guy, but I recognized that for the movie he fulfilled, what he needed to fulfill. But he wasn't the Lex Luthor that I grew up loving in the comics. It didn't matter because Christopher Reeve and Lois Lane and Margot Kidder were just spectacular. The score, the direction, Richard Donner crushed it. I always craved a little more action, but the ending of the original Superman, where he turns back time, was dramatic, and it was like emotional. He saved Lois because you're like, wait, Lois is dying again. I'm 10 years old. I'm just like, what's going on here? This is really extreme. And then when he pulls her car out and he screams and he heads up and he starts, fantastic, amazing emotion. It's pouring rain outside. I put my arms out like this, and I ran into the rain. Ran in. I knew we had to get to the car, and I put my arms out, and little Robbie Liefeld was being pummeled by rain, and my dad is just going, "This kid is nuts." If you're not familiar with me and my story, my dad, sweetest guy, passed away in 1999, very young, multiple brain cancer, brain tumors. Ultimately took him. He wanted to watch lawyers and cops, and he would say, Robbie, I like a good drama. He didn't say drama, he called it drama, just like my mom wanted to wash the clothes. We washed everything at my house. We washed the plates, we washed the clothes. It didn't, not until I was a lot older did I realize it's not wash, it's wash. We're washing things. We don't have a washing machine. Okay, my mom had that Midwest thing down. My dad was a really kind guy, and I think, I recognized that he saw in me that I could not have been more different than him, but he fostered it. He said, draw more. I love that you read comics. I love that you have this imagination. Other than telling me not to pray to the Force. that was the most serious he ever got. I hadn't prayed to the Force. He just knew how serious I was taking everything that I was watching when I was watching Star Wars. And I think he was like, whoa, this kid is going to go off the deep end and start, trying to move rocks with his mind. Superman, the movie, I ran around the backyard after that once the skies cleared. But that night, pummeled by the rain, just humming, dun, 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 na, 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 ba, 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 bum, 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 bum. Oh my gosh, you guys, that takes me, okay? So, Superman 2 is fun. Superman 3 I don't like. Superman 4 I don't like. By the time they get back to making a Superman in 2006, it's the angriest I've ever been. My wife and I went 2006 opening night to a Cinema City. Then it was called Cinemapolis. It's since closed. I came out like when it was over, like, are you kidding me? He landed a plane, great, cool. No, with 2006 standards, what was available to us? Not a single fight, fisticuff, and I clearly other people talked about this too. But I walked out as angry, 39 years old, furious that my guy had not punched anything. I thought Brandon Routh looked amazing, and they wasted it. They wasted all of it. Having him lift a rock, and the way that Bryan Singer shot it, he really wanted us to applaud. He's lifting a rock. Oh, it's kryptonite. No, that movie pissed me off. I was pissed. So 2013 comes, Man of Steel. I love it. I still love it. We're not here to talk about it, but I love it. My love for Man of Steel is like eternal. It's a certain style of Superman movie, in the same way that John Byrne does Superman, that Jerry Ordway does Superman, that Grant Morrison does Superman, that Brian Hitch does Superman, that Jeff Loeb does Superman, Ed McGuinness does Superman, Neil Adams does Superman. It's a different flavor each time. So I am going into Superman, and I am so excited. And look, this is going to be spoiler free, and it's going to be relatively quick. But you guys, I loved it. I think James Gunn. I'm going to say that when we went and saw F1 with me and my boys, my 20-something-year-old kids, and we watched all the trailers, they watched a number of trailers, and Superman came before another couple that followed it. And my one son said, Superman looks just so much better than these. I said, you guys, when we were leaving the theater, James Gunn has made a bunch of movies. Is it 7? Is it 8? Is it 10? There's Slither, there's Super. Okay, the 3 Green Guardians. You got Suicide Squad. I mean, look, it's in the 7s, it's in the 8s. Is it in the 10s? I didn't count before I came on. He knows how to swing his camera. He knows how to direct. He knows special effects. James Gunn is a director in full. He comes with his full arsenal and a budget clearly with a lot of blank checks. This guy can spend to launch this new world. From the beginning of the movie, it looks spectacular. Superman movie, criteria number one, gotta look great. You gotta look great. The movie has to look great. I want all the advances in technology. I want all the best. The Fortress of Solitude look great. The bad guys look great. All of the extra characters, the Justice Gang, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Metamorpho blew me away. I was I shared a studio with Jim Valentino in the late '80s, and Jim did a bunch of samples featuring Metamorpho that he sent into DC Comics, trying to pitch them on doing a Metamorpho special, a story, whatever it was. And I had always been a fan of Metamorpho. He was in the Justice League when I was a kid. He was in Batman and the Outsiders when that launched in 1984, and I bought every issue. Um, I was always a big fan. I think he's an incredibly interesting character. Never in a million years did I think he would be realized in the way that he was realized in Superman. I was completely blown away. And I thought from this, maybe he would be uh, utilized as a plot, kind of a plot point, a pawn on the board to move something around. I did not realize that he would get as much action on screen as he did, and I loved it. I just Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, for all of us who grew up with Guy Gardner and loving Guy Gardner, especially the 1986, 1987 Justice League, Keith Giffen, Kevin Maguire, J.M.D. Matisse version, or if you go back to the Joe Staton, Len Wein, the Neil Adams, all of the earlier incarnations. Nathan Fillion, it is as perfect as it is a role for anybody I've ever seen. As great as Tony Stark is as Iron Man, as Chris Evans was, uh, as Cap, as Tom Holland is as Spider-Man, as Hugh Jackman is as Wolverine. This fits Nathan Fillion. He is so good. I literally wanted more of him. I was scared that there were too many characters, but they serve a purpose. They are showing us the broader world that Superman is engaged in. I'm not here to tell you the story. I'm here to tell you that I had a blast. The movie looked great. Everyone looked great. The effects were great. The action was great. So what do I need next? I need a lot of action. I need to see my Superman kicking ass, whooping ass, and I got a ton of that. I want the pacing. I love a movie that has a great pace, that doesn't give me time to get bored, to lose interest. James Gunn, this thing is just moving. Nicholas Hoult, great call as Luthor. We can grow older with these guys. These guys can play these roles, hopefully for decades to come. Do I believe that this is going to entertain the masses? I do. I think there is so much candy. I read a lot of reviews. I chose today, after seeing the movie, I chose to read some reviews. I hadn't read any, just some positive vibes, the Twitter vibes from the stuff that I retweet is from the guys that I know. I know the guys and girls, Perry, Jermaine, Eric, Brandon, all these guys. I know them. I will retweet the ladies and gentlemen that I know and who I trust over the long haul, and their vibes were good. When I saw it, I was just having such a good time, and I was kind of concerned that my wife, fill in whoever your date is, the citizen who is attending with you, I was concerned, especially when something like Metamorpho was added to the menu, because we've already by that time seen Guy, seen Mr. Terrific, seen Hawk Girl. We've got the Engineer. We've got the mysterious Ultraman. We've got, I mean, by the time Metamorpho exists, we are really on top of everybody in the Daily Planet. I was like, wow, is she going to be completely overwhelmed and just checked out? Completely the opposite. She loved everyone. She on the way home, she's like, and who are all those people in the Daily Planet? Are they from the comic books? I said, yes, Cat, all of them. They're from the comic books. Watched Cat get introduced by Marv Wolfman and Jerry Ordway in what is it, 1986. Some of these characters I did watch come into being, but certainly not Superman, a legendary character that gets an amazing treatment. I thought Cornswat is fantastic. He is fantastic as Superman. He's got that youthful kind of Boy Scout, but he fills out the costume great. He's got a great voice, a great presence. He looked great. There are flying scenes and Superman exhibiting all of his powers in the movie that I was just thrilled with. I can't imagine if I was 10 years old going to see this movie and not having my mind completely blown. I think the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, there's a 10-year set somewhere between 6 and 16 that I think are going to dig this movie the most. The crowd that I saw it with, the joint I saw it with at the Fullerton AMC were roaring. More for certain scenes, and certainly at the end, there is one of the last scenes where another character that we weren't expecting to see, what was heard from all around me was, whoa! I mean, they couldn't believe, because James Gunn, he plays his hands really good in this. I need a movie that moves well. I need action. I need it to look great. I need fun characters, of which I got a ton of. Great chemistry. You could see already that the chemistry between Clark and Lois was going to be great. That Gunn had, put together these incredible cast. And David and Rachel are crack-a-lackin'. They have fantastic chemistry. I love the mysterious kind of elements they put in. I've always wanted to do, I love all the different twists that everybody brings with Krypton over the years, whether it was the 1978 version that they gave us with Marlon Brando. I love the Russell Crowe aspect, and in this, now you get this new version of Cal, of Jor-El. I'm sorry, Jor-El and Lara, and it's another new twist. In 2003 and 2004, I was getting to know J.J. Abrams. We were going to do a project together. He wanted to do an Alias comic book. Long story short, he started calling me about Superman, asking me questions. They were basic questions. I wasn't asked. He just wanted to know, had in his script, in his version of the Superman movie that went unmade, which is my favorite Superman movie. It would be my favorite Superman movie. There are scenes in that movie that, had they been filmed, especially post 9/11, it really leaned into a patriotic bend. There is a scene in the third act with Superman carrying the flag, which I know that Christopher Reeve has done as well. But behind him are the M16s, all the Top Gun planes, all the fighter jets are behind him. It is a full-scale, gigantic battle, and the Washington Monument gets toppled and cracked in this thing. It gets toppled. It gets destroyed. It visually had a ton of great components, but what he wanted to know was there a comic book? And he's calling me and asking me, it's 2002, 2004, 2002, 2003. He's saying, Rob, has Jor-El ever been shown as walking on Earth in real or projected form in Earth's past at any time? And I'm like, what is this? This is a great idea. I thought that was a killer idea. J.J. Abrams' version of Superman was outstanding. I wish that it had been made. It would have been so much more a crowd pleaser than the 2006 Superman Returns, which was completely different. There's no elements that they share. I've also read the unmade Nicolas Cage, Kevin Smith Superman. That doesn't do it for me. The J.J. Abrams screenplay was just of its time. It would have rocked and socked, and the chemistry, whoever they had cast at that point for Clark and Lois. This is the guy that made his name, coming up, doing some great romantic teen stuff, and his Clark and Lois, Clark and Lois had so many great scenes. So many, honestly. Some of what he was doing there, he carried over. I saw in the Mission Impossible. Is it Mission Impossible 3 that he does? Because he had already done some great stuff with Alias, some great stuff with the Felicity. Is that the name of the show? Yeah. And so he knew his way around this stuff. Trust me, the Lois, Superman, Clark stuff was really great there. That movie didn't get made, obviously. It lives in my head as a great unmade screenplay. I loved it. I'm not sure which version that you can dig up online. I'm sure some of you have already read it, and they're like, hey, Liefeld, look, the version I read was fantastic. He let me read it. I was literally blown away. But there was stuff in there that was original in regards to Jor-El and the relationship that Krypton had. And like, of course, because he said, why would I send my kid to a place I haven't scouted? And he wanted Jor-El to have scouted uh, Earth, and his version and his interpretation of that was one of my favorite things. There is a Krypton twist, obviously, in this. There always is. I kind of dug it. I thought it was cool. Thought it was a new way into this story. I don't understand the people who are raging against this movie, but that's okay. I don't need to. I don't need you to like the movie. I'm telling you that I loved it. It was the Superman. It was the Lois. It was the Justice Gang that I didn't know I needed. They exceeded expectations. And as I said, James Gunn knows how to shoot a movie. He is an auteur at this point. He is, whether you like him or not, just like P.T. Anderson. One of my son's friends got into a argument with me at his wedding. Mr. Liefeld, Luke's told me how much you like P.T. Anderson. I don't understand. I'm like, well, we don't need to ever talk again. Like, I don't need to convince you to like P.T. Anderson. I don't need to need you. I don't need to, and when I say P.T., Paul Thomas Anderson, I don't need you to like James Gunn either. I don't need you to like this movie. I'm just telling you I did. Now, before we wrap up, my love of Superman, like I said, and I really do hope that this movie does well. I can't predict box office. So much has changed. You've got all the premium format screens. I read the other day that like $100 million of Mission Impossible is because of IMAX screens around the world. IMAX is a big deal. Jurassic Park, Jurassic World didn't have a single IMAX screen, which is adding $5 to $6 per ticket purchase. And it still was huge. Imagine if F1 hadn't locked them all up for 2 weeks and now F1 loses them and they are released to Superman. That's how it goes now. You know, there's a reason people want these IMAXs. There's a reason Tom Cruise wanted them for 2 to 3 weeks, because they just pump so much more. They pay for your film faster, okay? Superman's got premium screens on lockdown all through the weekend. I don't know what age group. I do believe that people coming out are going to give this a positive word of mouth. I live in a rooftop where I had kids who made fun of me for just watching the Maverick trailer over and over again. And did I mention I watched the Maverick trailer over and over again after seeing the world premiere of Maverick in April of, is it 2022? In April of 2022? At the Vegas CinemaCon. And I came home just, whoa! Like, this movie is, and I had people in my family say, Dad, you're just a nostalgic old guy. Nobody is as interested in this as you. And I believe that may have been the case, but the word of mouth on Maverick carried it. People loved it. People loved Top Gun. They loved the sequel. They came out, and the word of mouth that was generated propelled a greater interest in that movie than anybody believed was going to exist. I hope that happens with this movie. I hope it is the first of a new bunch of Superman movies. You're gonna want to see Supergirl, I think, based on everything they show you in this movie. And Crypto, I didn't even mention Crypto. Crypto, we are a dog family. We love dogs. Crypto was fantastic. And of course he's going to steal some scenes. Did you really think that the guy who brought you Groot and Rocket Raccoon was not going to completely, serve up Crypto to not have some crazy great scenes? Crypto is fantastic. I grew up with Crypto. My wife literally, again, because some of our partners are mates, they aren't as versed as we are. And that, it is the concern that I had going into it, but I don't. It throws everything at you. It's got some Grant Morrison. It's got some Jeff Loeb. It's got, Kurt Swan. It's got a little bit of everything. It's definitely got Siegel. It's got Schuster. Okay. This is just such a fun, incredibly fun movie. And I thought maybe it'd be too overstuffed. Maybe it'd be too wild. I love all the ideas. It just throws ideas. It doesn't really ever feel the need to explain those to you. Like, well, I need to explain. It just throws all of those kind of Silver Age concepts, especially the Fortress of Solitude, the robots, all that kind of stuff. Portals, interdimensional stuff. It just assumes that you're going to take that ride and accept that these people were able to access the kind of science and technology that could pull this stuff off. It did not turn my wife off at all. It totally engaged her. But when it comes to Crypto, when she first saw the promotion, she says, he has a dog? I said, yes, he has a dog. He has a dog. It's Crypto. It's Crypto. So Crypto was great. Okay, so when John Byrne took over Superman and they restarted it and they relaunched it, it was a big deal. It was covered by Time Magazine. John Byrne was on the Today Show. It got a lot of run. This is a pencil. May be hard to see. Let me do this. So this is an original penciled Superman by John Byrne that I just love so much. And this is part of my collection. This was in the Art of John Byrne when I was a kid when I got it in 1979. And so when I was able to obtain this, I jumped at the chance. I've shared with you guys my love, my absolute adoration, my love, my complete, obsession with. I'm going to show you those in a minute. With my complete obsession with. With Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, and this is one of my favorite. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. So this is the cover to Superboy and the Legion. Is it 240? Is it 243? Mike Grell, Joe Rubenstein, Superman knocking some robots. Fantastic stuff. Loved it. Can't get enough. Muhammad Ali Superman right here, loving it, digging it, can't get enough of it. Showing you this page. These are some of the prime pieces in my collection. I was able to pick this up recently. This is another Superman. Love this face, the close up on this face, the art, the intense lines. This is one of those that stood out. Both of these Superman. This one with him lifting Muhammad Ali in the globe into space to meet with the aliens. Look at that close up. Look at that art. But let me tell you something. And this is so like it would not be outside of James Gunn's wheelhouse to do this Action Comics number 481. Okay, number 481. Did I get that right? The Supermobile. Okay, did you know that Superman had a Supermobile? Because here he is kicking Amazo's ass, and Amazo had all the powers of the Justice League. He was one of my favorite guys. This is the debut of the This is Jose Garcia Lopez. This is the debut of the Supermobile. Okay, Superman. He's powerless, and so he has hidden away this flying car, this flying jet car with arms, and it blew me away as a kid. Now, here's what you got to know. It wasn't just in the comic. You could go to Gemco or the Treasury. I'm going old school with these. How many of you guys went to a department store called the Treasury? How many of you guys went to a department store called Gemco? Booyah! The Supermobile, baby. Corgi had the Supermobiles, okay? Can I get the Supermobile in an upcoming movie, James Gunn? Can we get into the Supermobile? Because there it is. These are my pride and joy, and the fact that I have the cover that introduces the Supermobile is just phenomenal. So yes, I am holding up the actual packaged Corgi, like Hot Wheels. They did a bunch of DC vehicles. Wonder Woman in a car, Batman, obviously the Batmobile. With Superman, they gave him this with those arms, and there's a 3-part story where he has to use a Supermobile to battle Amazo, and it blew me away as a kid. It blew me away. I loved it. I loved it more than you could possibly ever imagine. Superman is near and dear to my heart. I loved Superman. I hope it does extremely well. I hope you enjoy it. I know you'll let me know if you did or if you didn't, because that's what we do here on the Rob Liefeld Show. I told you I'd keep it quick today. I've probably already gone a little longer than I had planned. I wanted to share some of that artwork with you. I wanted to share, come on, man. Neil Adams is the freaking GOAT. I'm showing a close-up of Muhammad Ali and that is the most beautiful Superman face. I'm a face guy. I love faces. I love handsome faces. I love Neil Adams' handsome faces, okay? Superman has always been near and dear to me. I'm a giant Superman fan. It's weird that I'll have never done anything with Superman, but he's going to go into the public domain at some point. I've very much researched Lockdown. Yes, he can't fly. He can only leap. Got it. I don't need any of that stuff. I'll do my own public domain Superman when the time comes. and I'll just have a great time with him. I'll finally get to do that Superman Youngblood crossover. So hey, thank you as always for listening. I hope you guys enjoy Superman this summer. I hope you dig it. I hope it succeeds. I hope it has tremendous success. I hope we can get Superman in the Supermobile. I'm gonna hold this up one more time. This is 1978. You guys, again, these were hanging at the department store. At if there was a Toys R Us, Toys R Us for us was a harder. There was only one in our area, and it was about a 20-minute drive. So most of the toys that I got to access were from department stores or Gemco, which in Orange County they all flipped and became Targets, or a department store called the Treasury, which is also like a Target. But you guys, thank you so much as always for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for rocking it out. I am so thrilled that we get to hang out together. I will be at San Diego. I have my Youngblood, giant size Youngblood. You're going to want to get your hands on this. There's going to be multiple editions. There's going to be some specials. I'm going to have a panel. I'm going to be giving out some goodies. I hope to see you at San Diego here in a couple of weeks. We'll do a few more episodes until that time. What a fun time it is, summer in San Diego, and I'll give some more thoughts as we get closer to that. But I do live streaming, Whatnot, eBay. Look for me on Whatnot. I'm Rob Liefeld. Follow me. Give me a follow. We are a great account. We've got great reviews. Have we sold like 29,000 items? I don't know. It's incredible. It kind of blows my. No, that's not true. We have 29,000 people. You know what? I got to fact check. How much have we sold? Okay. Sorry. Oh crap. We've sold 20,900, not 29. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. Guys, we deliver exclusive autographs, exclusive variants, all sorts of stuff. Want very much for you to be a part of it. Hope that you can be a part of it. Love that you're a part of it. Thank you for following us on the live stream and tuning in. There's original art, there's signatures, there's comics, there's variants, all sorts of cool stuff. I've already told you where I am on X and Instagram and Facebook at the top of this show. I'm going to close it out hoping that you are doing as well as you possibly can. Boom, boom, two fists into the Blue Yeti microphone, wishing you all the best. I hope that your mental, your spiritual, your physical, and your emotional self are exactly where they need to be. You know my motto, take a break. Do for you. Get out. Have some fun. Get out into the sun. Hit the lake, the pool, the beach. Spend time with friends. Break bread. Have a great meal. Read a great comic. Go see Superman, okay? I'm going to be back. Hopefully you'll be here. I'll be right out there. If you're in the neighborhood, swing by, pick me up. We will most definitely, absolutely, inevitably talk again real soon.